Hi, it's Mr. Carson again. I just thought I'd call in to see how you're going with your science report. Have you set the scene? When we are writing a report, we have to realise that not everyone knows a lot about science. Many of the terms that are used by a scientist will be completely confusing to the average reader. So what we must remember to do is to make it very clear how it will affect them. So not only must we talk about what we are trying to do, but we should relate it to what actually goes on in the real world. One of the easiest ways to do this is to provide examples. So don't be frightened to include examples about how this will affect people's lives in your setting the scene. When you explain something to someone, it's so much easier if you use words that they will understand. A good explanation will leave no doubt in the reader's mind what you have done and why you have done it. And this is why we spend some time with our context. I do say that you should include science terminology in your report, but if you do so and the term is a little confusing, you should try to explain what it really means. This will give the reader a greater insight into what you're doing, and that's what the whole purpose of the report is. You want someone to understand what you did and why you did it. Now, when you do this, it's also important to link, and I go back to the using examples again, of the work you have already done and your current understanding with what we are trying to find out. Let's try to be really clear about this. Why are we doing something? A good starting point for any report is to say, I am trying to find out this. This really helps the reader. Now, in your science report, this is called the aim or purpose. Now, the aim or purpose can be a question. In some cases, this is called a research question, or it can be a statement. Now, it should clearly outline what you are trying to test. It does not have to be a huge paragraph. 1 or 2 sentences should be clear and enough. Now is the time to get down to the nitty-gritty of the whole report. We need to focus on a small section of what we are trying to find out. We don't need to find out everything, but we need to find out something about a particular part of a topic. So what we need to do now is to make a prediction. Now, a prediction should link in some detail what we are trying to do in terms of the changes we will make, the independent variable, and the measurements we will make, the dependent variable. Now try to be specific in this and actually name the things you will use and name the things you will change. In science, we actually call this a hypothesis. And as with a hypothesis and a prediction, we should always give a valid reason why we've made it. A good prediction will have a scientific background. Now, sometimes this comes from what we have done in class. Sometimes it comes from what we already know, and sometimes it comes from what we have found out by doing some research. If we do the research, though, we must cite the sources of our information. It is really important. If it is from our previous knowledge, then That is not the case. Now, if we have followed this, we will have a nice introduction and give the reader, most importantly, a very good idea of why we are trying to do a certain activity.